Welcome back, Holy Readers. This is episode 36 of Holy Holy, and I'm so excited. Our community is growing and it's thriving, and you guys are working so hard and reading and pressing in, and I'm so proud of you. So let's talk about the reading from September the 2nd to September the 8th. So this is going to be 2 Kings 25 and 2 Chronicles 36. So we're finally finishing up those books that we've been reading forever. Okay. Jeremiah 40 through 44, Psalm 111 and 48, Ezekiel 20 through 32, Lamentations 1 through 2. We'll talk about those next week. And then Obadiah, which is the whole book. It's just a few verses. And then Revelation 8 through 14. So as we're reading, I want you to stay in the mindset of exile. That's what these prophets are talking about. That's what they're prophesying and that they're living in and enduring. So all of this really should be framed within the idea of exile. So Ezekiel chapters 25 through 34, this is oracles against the nations. This includes Ammon, Moab, Edom, Philistia, Tyre, Sidon, and Egypt. But of those, the two largest, most prominent nations are Tyre and Egypt. And they think of themselves as gods. And so Ezekiel says, no, you will face God's justice and God's judgment. You are not gods, and Babylon will destroy you as well. Jeremiah 40 through 44. So this is talking about the siege of Babylon against Israel. Remember that Jeremiah lived through this siege, that he witnessed it. And this is what he's talking about. And these chapters talk about Jeremiah's suffering, his kidnap, and he's being taken to Egypt. So that's what these chapters are talking about. 2 Kings 25 through 2 Chronicles 36. They are both talking about the same thing. And this is about the destruction of Judah, the destruction of Jerusalem, that Babylon comes and it does destroy. And Israel goes into exile. Chapter 36, it gets ahead of us a little bit, but it's setting us up for what we're about to read. So 2 Chronicles 36 tells us that eventually the king of Persia, which is King Cyrus, who is Isaiah prophesied, that eventually he's going to give an edict that the people that have been taken to exile can go back to their homeland, Israel, and rebuild. And this is setting us up for the reading in Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, and Zechariah. Those four guys are all contemporaries. They're working together. They're all prophesying and writing together. And that comes in the rebuild. But the land of Israel is left desolate for a while. So Babylon comes and destroys. And then there's a time where it's just destroyed and left in ruins. And so that's kind of where we are. One of the key figures, though, that ties all of this reading together is Gedaliah. And we don't hear a lot about Gedaliah, so you kind of have to pay close attention and piece the pieces together. So Gedaliah was a supporter of Jeremiah. And after the people go into exile and Jerusalem is destroyed, Babylon leaves Gedaliah as the ruler, the appointed governor over the remaining people left in Judah. Remember, this is the poorest of the poor. So Gedaliah tells them, look, work the land, live in peace, sustain yourselves. And he sets up Mizpah, which is a city there. He sets up Mizpah as his headquarters, as the administrative center. But his tenure is short-lived. He doesn't get to stay in power for very long. And remember that he's administering on behalf of Babylon. So Ishmael is one that wants to reinstate the Davidic line. And we should have Davidic kings, not some supporter of Babylon, some Babylon puppet governor or whatever, which I don't think that that's what Gedaliah was. Gedaliah, he was just trying to maintain peace and do what Babylon had asked him to do. But Ishmael rises up and he assassinates Gedaliah. And this is politically motivated. It's a political move so that Ishmael can bring back the Davidic line. But that's not what happens. And this assassination, it stirs up a lot of fear and turmoil in the hearts of those that have been left in Judah. And they're afraid that Babylon is going to come and administer retribution on the people because of Gedaliah's assassination. So they flee to Egypt. And remember that Jeremiah is kidnapped and taken to Egypt. So they're all kind of fleeing for safety there. All right, let's go to Obadiah. Now, earlier, we read about a character named Obadiah when we talk about Jezebel and her prophets of Baal and Elijah and all of that. We read about a character named Obadiah that hid prophets in caves by groups of 50 to save the prophets of the Lord. But we don't know if this is the same guy. But Obadiah is writing, and it's only 21 verses. It's the shortest book in the entire Old Testament. And Obadiah's name means servant of Yahweh. I love that. So this is written either during the Babylonian exile or just right after. And it's written against Edom. This is so interesting because remember the tension between Jacob and Esau, those brothers, Jacob and Esau, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but Jacob's brother is Esau, and they fight and live in turmoil. Well, Jacob, when he wrestles with the angel, remember, becomes Israel. And he has 12 sons that become the 12 tribes and the nation of Israel. But Esau becomes Edom, and he begets the Edomites, the nation of the Edomites. And so when Babylon comes to destroy Jerusalem, to destroy Israel, Edom does nothing to help its brother nation. Instead, they take up arms and participate with Babylon in the destruction of Israel. They participate. And it's that's heartbreaking when they should be defending their brother and coming to their brother's aid. Instead, they're participating in their brother's destruction. So Obadiah writes against Edom, and he's saying, what you've done to Israel, God will do to you. So verses 1 through 14 are accusations against Edom, that they will be brought down, they will be destroyed. And then verses 15 through 21 are about the day of the Lord against all nations, not just Edom, but all nations. All nations will be judged according to their deeds. But this book, like so many of the prophets, is beautiful because it ends with hope, a promise of restoration of Israel, and God's people will reclaim their land, and the kingdom will belong to the Lord. I want you to see that no matter how your story looks right now, if your story looks difficult and it looks like destruction and it looks like exile, there's always a promise of hope that God will come and restore, that he'll put things back together and bring about renewed hope to God's people. All right. Psalm 111. Psalm 111 is a hymn of praise that's written as an acrostic, where every verse starts with a character of the Hebrew alphabet. And we see this style also in Lamentations, which we'll talk about next week. We see this in Psalm 119. So anyway, let's look at it. I wanted to really point out one particular verse, which is verse 5. And it says, he has provided food for those who fear him. He remembers his covenant forever. This week I read the book, The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. It was so beautiful. And she talked about a vial of vitamins that they had in the concentration camps that never ran out. And it was amazing. No matter how much they took and no matter how much they shared it, the vial never ran out until they got a new vial of vitamins. Great book. You should read it. But here's what I want to tell you. It reminds me of the widow of Zarephath, where the oil never ran out. And even if you feel like you don't have enough, if you offer it to the Lord every time with thanksgiving, with humility and praise, that what you have will be enough. David said, I've never seen the righteous forsaking nor his seed begging for bread. And I want to tell you that God will provide for you, that he will provide food for those who fear him because he remembers his covenant forever. Amen. All right. Revelation chapters 8 through 11 are the 7 trumpets. And then 12 through 14 is the woman, the dragon, and the beast. And this is a cosmic battle. And the woman most likely represents the church and Israel. and the dragon most likely represents Satan. So I hope you've enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to share it and tell your friends. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, the whole thing, and find us. Also, you can email me at Jasmine@regenerationnashville.org. So I love you so much, and I'll see you next week. Until then, God bless.